Welcome, community of Anchorage, to your theater, Anchorage Community Theater. I'm Matt Fernandez, Executive Director here at ACT, and I am talking to you on the set of RKP's production of Dick Reichman's Out to Lunch, a show that just opened this week and runs for 2 more weekends, so I hope you come and see it. It'll be our good first collaboration of 2023. Well, this is another episode of what is currently called Alaska Theater People. I'm wondering if I should change the name to the Anchorage Community Stage or something else. So keep following along. The names will change, I'm sure, as we go on. But this is a show where I like to interview people who are involved in the Anchorage theater community. And my guest today is a fella who he's an actor in this play. He's worked all over the United States, all over Alaska. Many people in the theater company have run into him at some point or another, worked with him at some point or another. This man keeps himself very, very busy. I'd like to introduce Skyler Davis.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
You're early for call. That's good.
Yeah? I'm ready. I'm excited.
Yeah. Steve. So, how are you doing?
Good. Fantastic. Any day I'm performing for an audience is a great day. You don't get too many of those.
Good.
You know.
So, where did we first meet and work together? It just kind of seems like we just, I don't even remember how we just appeared.
It was like beginning. Yeah, it was beginningless.
Well,
I think it was back when you were doing the community. You were the outreach coordinator, I think.
Okay, so I came back into town in I came back into the theater stuff in 2015, and I think you were just right there, and we did an outreach show for the doctors at the Providence Hospital called
the neuron who became addicted.
Yes, yeah. And that was So one of my old friends, Dr. Paula Colescott, she wrote this play called The Neuron Who Became Addicted, and she said, could you stage this show? And the whole play takes place in somebody's brain, and the brain, neurons are doing well and they're all getting along until, do you remember Crystal Meth shows up?
Yeah. Played by Jackie Hoffman.
Jackie Hoffman was a good crystal meth. I hope she still puts that down on her resume for top parts that she's played. I got to play crystal meth. That was a trippy show, and then we had Gabe Harvey with Underground Dance Company jump in and do some dance for us at the end.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to quite fit, but man, the doctors and medical people really enjoyed that
it was entertaining
part of it. So definitely one of the stranger things that I've been involved in.
It was cool. It's cool to be able to take theater to places like hospitals and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've worked a lot in this town, but also out of Anchorage. I know you've done some Cyrano stuff, you've done ATY, TBA. Is the neuron thing the only thing that you really did with ACT?
No, back in 2014 I did a play by Gail Hyde called Moonlight Lady.
Oh, okay.
And I played Cowboy Vampire.
Oh.
And I did like a cool little grapevine and square dance too. It was,
Wow.
A little bit of dance experience.
So tell me where you have done theater before.
Yeah, so I mean, my first ever show was the Best Christmas Pageant Ever back in old Cyrano's in like 2003 or something.
Oh, wow.
And then...
Were you a youngin' then?
I was probably, if it was 2003, I would have been 10, so I was like around that age. And then I did a string of like a bunch of stuff with like ATY. I went to a couple of their conservatories there, and then and then I kind of didn't even think about acting for a while in my high school years. Like I went and did DDF, but I didn't even do the drama part of the DDF.
Oh, really?
I just did the debate. I like arguing I guess, and so I mean, yeah, it was like not even on my radar. I wanted to join the Navy, and I wanted to be like a naval special warfare operator, and I was like running like 8 miles every day, like the condition, and then I couldn't join the Navy, so I had a really enlightening experience. I turned 18 years old in Alaska Psychiatric Institute.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my 18th birthday in there, and I had to change units and everything too because I was in the juvenile unit, and then I was an adult, you know. And they gave me this really nice big Oreo ice cream cake that took me several days to complete, so that was really nice. But
I'm surprised you remember that.
yeah, I know, right? Me too. But I got out of that, and I went to this kind of alternative to a hospital type of thing going on called Soteria, Alaska. Soteria means deliverance in Swedish, and it was a deliverance to me. It probably saved my life. I ended up getting off of those really powerful cocktail of medication I was on, and I've realized how effective and important art was to me.
Really?
So not even just acting, but like I love painting and drawing and writing and playing music. So I just try to be a very artistic person, like every day, like just part of like my routine. And it helps me, you know, it helps my mental health. And that's why I want to become a drama therapist, because I understand firsthand how effective it is. So I could go and, you know, learn how to do that and go and spread the joy of like drama therapy.
Interesting.
Around, yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about this play and your character in the play.
Yeah, Out to Lunch is a very clever title by Dick Reichman, like you know, off in their own little world, not doing anything, you know.
So I'm sorry. So did he really put this play together in no time flat? 'Cause I remember he was talking to me about. He asked, you know, do you know of any plays that are going on that have to deal with recent political, social issues? And I was like looking through a list. I was like, well, I'm not sure. You can look at New Play Exchange and kind of see. And he said, I just didn't find anything. He said, well, I think I'll just write it myself. And it seemed like 6 months later, the play is up, you know.
Yeah, I forgot if he said 3 weeks or 3 months, but it was pretty quick that he wrote it.
Pretty solid play for, you know, to be put together that quick, I thought. I mean, I got to see it, most of it on Thursday.
Yeah, heck yeah. No, I agree. It's funny. The play's funny. It's got like really nice, you know, little clever dialogue, witty, humorous. It pokes fun at the left and the right, so it's not like, you know, biased. I think an audience member commented on that last night, actually. It was like one of Nava's friends. Yeah, she was telling us that one of her friends that came and saw the show really appreciated how neutral it was and kind of making fun of all the parties and all the conspiracy theories, not just, you know, one side or the other.
Yeah, I think as I was watching it too, I thought, well, you know, is this a comedy? I'm waiting for, because the issues just seem
so serious.
I mean, they are, you know, on paper they're comedic, but these are the issues that we deal with. Like, people really are to these extremes, and so I'm like, gosh, it's not, you know, it's almost not even funny because people are actually kind of like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I really started to see the stereotypes. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, like he took the, you know, Dick took the right to their, you know, to the extreme, and the left to the extreme.
Yeah.
What's your character?
He's a right winger and conspiracy theorist. You know, loves guns. Has something going on.
Yeah.
He was a mechanic, and he dropped out of high school, and he's, you know, he's just his name's Charlie, and he's not who I am at all. But when I am working on building a character, you know, it's like if you're playing a character, you gotta, you know, be like in their perspective. And I certainly have had, you know, conspiracy theories, much more so when I was younger. Yeah, like you know, the CIA assassinated JFK, like all that. Like I'm always super skeptical, and I like to read between the lines, and sometimes I think there are conspiracies where there probably are none. So we share that in common. But the character I'm playing, unfortunately, is racist and misogynistic.
Oh, is
And
it?
that was something tough for me to grapple with initially. Especially during the read through, I like totally just dropped an entire word that was very important to everyone in the table's like, Skyler, there's another word there. Come on, man. Like, it feels terrible. I want to give Shaylisa a hug like at the end of every single show. Maybe I should, but yeah. It's, so that's he's a racist, misogynistic, gay basher, according as he's called in the play at one point.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I think, in my experience, playing those roles that aren't, you're playing a person that isn't you or whatever, and I found like, well, I need to find, okay, so let's get to the bare bones of what the emotions are behind this person. Forget about the actual details. Like, put the details aside. This guy is what? Passionate, okay? So he's passionate about this thing, which doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. But am I passionate about anything? Yes, I'm passionate about this. So just let's take what I'm passionate about, move it into this, like just, put my emotion into that. And it really doesn't even matter what the words are really, but just
good old substitution.
And that's what's kind of helped me in the past, because I played people who are way off from where I'm at or whatever.
You played Stanley Kowalski, right, in The Streetcar Named Desire?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a tough one because of that one scene with Blanche.
Right.
That would be personally, that would be like probably the only thing that would make me say no to doing that role. But,
yeah, back then for me too, though, I was really young, and the only thing, the only deep acting I knew was just to be louder. so I remember
we all have that phase.
In that scene, Joe Best was like, "Can you not, is it possible not to yell in my face so loud?" I was like, "I don't know. It's all the training I have thus far." But anyway.
I was there on the day they taught us to project. Yeah.
So for the audience out there, what is the basic plot of the play?
To sum it up as simply and succinctly as possible, we're voting on whether or not to accept the COVID vaccine.
Okay.
And if you remember, during those times, everything was so politicized and polarized.
Yeah. I think I remember that. I think I'm trying to forget it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that's what it is about. It's about us, doing whether or not we're going to do the right thing, and look out for our community, or just just do nothing. Which, you have to come see the show to see what we do or don't do. Yes. Yeah.
Well, like I mentioned, I got to watch most of it, but one of the things that I took away from it, and it was one of those plays where I just kept thinking about it after it was done. Just kept going around in my head, and I thought, it's really, it's really interesting because of the time that we live in. Back 50, 60 years ago, a small town would mostly, I believe, have a pretty collective mindset about things. A town even has kind of its own culture and kind of that thing. But because of the outside information that we have access to through, internet and all kinds of stuff, that all kinds of information comes in, and now you have this petri dish of this small town, and you can't even have 6 people agree on one thing because, I heard this and I heard that.
Yeah.
And in a way, I was left with like, man, it's very difficult to know what the truth is, because each thing that gets brought up, okay, we're ready to do the vote or whatever, each thing that gets brought up, there's another, well, what about this? Shalice's character is like, well, I can't because of this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a valid point, but gosh dang it, so it's just, we have constant roadblocks to throw out to each other, and nothing is getting done. And you all should see the show. It's very, it's very timely, and it's a good look in the mirror too, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to go back to so you did Best Christmas in 2003. What got you into this theater stuff? to begin with? I mean, were you always doing this as a little kid, or I mean, did you grow up around it, watching movies? What?
I don't know. That's an yeah. I definitely liked movies and stuff. And I mean I enjoyed going to see plays when I was younger too. It wasn't a big thing in our family. We didn't like go and see plays. We watched like a Christmas Story like every Christmas every year. Like you'll shoot your eye out, that movie.
And where did you grow up?
Mostly Anchorage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was born in Juneau, and I moved to Anchorage when I was about 7, and I lived in like Toke, Alaska for a little bit, and down in Cousharam, Utah for a year and 3 days on a ranch down there. Didn't do any acting down there, see any plays, or even think about it. I was like 12 or 13 years old when I was down there, and then so it was like a lot of stuff, upheaval in my middle of my childhood brought me away from my initial interest in acting. Because I started to develop, my mom I think she just brought me to the theater to like do a play with ATY and after Cyrano's and stuff because she could see how much fun I was having, and so I just kept doing it, and then I learned about I was in the bookstore, Borders Books and Music back when it still existed, and they were having a clearing sale because they were leaving, and I saw a copy of Konstantin Stanislavski's An Actor Prepares in Building a Character, and I was already interested in acting, but I probably misunderstood it back then, and then I started reading that and the manual of the system, and it instead of it overcomplicating everything and mystifying it, it was so simple, what he was saying to do, and so then that's when I started taking it, when I was about 17. Ish, I started, taking it seriously, as a craft, and I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
Did you feel like when you turned 17 that this is something that you were actually good at, or they were becoming good at, and that's where...
Well, here's the thing, I was really lucky that I, have been cast and stuff, and worked with the people that I worked with, because I got a lot of on-the-job training, essentially. I didn't go to a formal, 4-year university, I didn't, or even a summer conservatory, minus ATY stuff back in the day. So that was the extent of my actor training, and so then I started learning on the job and learning from actors that were a lot better than me. I'll name drop some of them right now, like Jake Wade, one of my mentors and good friends, Randy Reinholz, he really made a really big impact on me. And if he gets to see this and hear, then I just want you to know that. Thank you. And so awesome people, and people who have really had a lot of faith and trust in me and believed that I could exceed my own expectations even. So I owe a lot to those people.
Do you remember any advice that they gave you or anything like that? Any specific?
Yeah. Avoid alcohol, stay disciplined, are the big ones, just keep going, keep growing. Yeah. One of my favorite things is that wasn't even personally told to me though, is from Stanislavski himself. He said, a good artist should live a full life to be able to have stuff to draw from, inspiration and experience, all the colors of life. And so that's a big piece of advice I try to take to heart. I try to live my life as fully as possible, and try to just be present in the moment and not always be in my phone or having to listen to music, just be comfortable just walking or just sitting with my own silence sometimes.
Yeah, I remember when I was directing Lady Day, and we were doing some kind of table work or whatever, and we're talking about, my 4 actresses are portraying Billie Holiday, and I said, I want you to put yourself in there. I want you, I don't want Billie Holiday to seem like an impression or a caricature. I need your own experiences and your emotions in that. And I remember one of the actresses asked and said, well, what if you don't know who you are? And I said, well, then you need to figure out how to make yourself then. You know, I wasn't going to be like, well, you need to go find yourself. Like, you need to start building yourself. And I think, yeah, just like you said, you know, maybe the job of the actor is, you know, part of my job is to go out and get a whole bunch of experiences. Hopefully they won't kill me. And hopefully I won't hurt anybody else, but get all these kind of experiences and feel certain emotions to be able to use in my toolbox. You know,
Yeah.
in my toolbox of emotions.
Yeah, go out there, take risk, you know, go get your heart broken, like, go do it a couple times.
Yeah.
Find yourself homeless for a period of time,
Mm.
you know, travel with just the clothes on your back. Settle down, you know, enjoy, have a place where you could finally put posters up again.
Right.
I'm enjoying that. For years I was like traveling constantly. I would be back in one spot for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember, well, you were like, yeah, I was doing this thing in California or something, and you came back for a bit and stuff.
Yeah, and it was kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
It felt like I didn't have a home.
It was good. I mean, you're the right age for it. You know?
Yeah, and I wasn't married. I was in what became a long distance relationship at the time with the costume designer. She was awesome, great lady. We're still friends. We email each other, but she was a really good source of inspiration and knowledge too, because she was a professional within the industry. Anyway, yeah, but yeah, I mean, what the heck were we even talking about? Just got so sidetracked.
I think we're on the right track.
There we go. Yeah.
I actually am curious though. So you had mentioned to me off camera that you did some stuff with was it the Fairbanks Shakespeare?
Yeah.
I had a friend, Sarah McMillan, worked with them for almost every summer for a while. She was our nurse.
Sarah Mack, I love her.
Yeah, she was our nurse Ratchet.
Ratchet? Yeah.
Nurse Ratchet, yeah.
That's amazing. She's such a cool lady. When I went,
great actress.
Oh yeah, when I went and worked with Fairbanks Shakespeare Theater, actually, she was in As You Like It.
Oh, was she?
And she gave me a ride up to Fairbanks.
Oh,
I
cool.
rode with her. That's when I met her. She was one of my mom's friends that knew. And then my mom was like, Skyler, there's a theater up in Fairbanks. They're looking for somebody, and Sarah wants to send a picture of real quick to me, and boom. And then I ended up going up, and Tom Robinholt was directing it, and we did As You Like It. And yeah, she was awesome. She's a really talented lady. I just saw her do her autobiographical play, Psycho Sarah, which was awesome. Yeah.
And then you had mentioned you had done some other things out of state. I mean, you have quite a list. I'd like to hear.
Yeah. One of my favorites and most memorable experience was Inside Passage at Quantum Theater in Pittsburgh. That was in 2018, yeah, and it was really cool. It was, I mean, this lady who wrote the play, Gab Cody is her name. She was born in Juneau as well, and she had some Tlingit, foster siblings when she was young, and she hadn't seen for like 40 years until her mom gave her like a photo album for Christmas one year, and her daughter, Matilda, came up and she was like, who are those people, Mommy? And she's like, that's my family. Huh. Yeah, and so then she actually started making a documentary, hired a cinematographer, Rob Long, went to Alaska to look for them again.
Oh, wow.
They found out one of them was homeless here in the streets in Anchorage.
Really?
Yeah, and another one was a bus driver in Juneau. And she ended up finding both of them. And so then she made this play, she wrote this play called Inside Passage, where we all kind of play, very Brechtian type of play. Like, it opens with me and Shaman McCune walking into the theater in bear costumes, and growling at some patrons who were sitting in our chair. And on the proscenium curtain is...
Was this the Perseverance show?
No, this was with Quantum Theater.
Oh, Quantum, sorry,
yeah.
you said that.
And the proscenium curtain is closed, and there's like a projector screen on it. And it was a prop. And but we showed this like tourist video like, come to Alaska, like, we have polar bears. Look at this sweet little girl, like, oh, what are these people doing? Oh, this is celebration. Every other year they do it in Juneau. They're Tlingit, Hide and Shimshim people. And it goes on. And then we're like watching it, Shaman and I in our bear costume. Audience members are like, what the heck is going on? A tea kettle goes off that grows in intensity, and then this was a play in 33 acts.
Oh my gosh.
So each one was short. Each scene was like an act. This one was called Warning Bear Activity or something like that. And Shaman and I get all angry in our bears, outfits, and we storm down and we tear the screen apart and then open up the proscenium curtain. And then out walks a wonderful actress named Kelsey Robinson. And she's like, hello, I'm Gab. And then I go and do a really quick costume change, get out, and I come out, and I'm also Gab. And then another actress comes out, and she's Gab too. And then we start talking about all the family. We lay the premise of the whole story about how this is a story of how Gab. I go back to Alaska to look for my foster siblings. And to cut this story, it's a wonderful story, and I could talk all day about what we did and stuff, but I don't really want to. It's a long one. But my favorite part of all of this was I was working about a year later with Perseverance Theater, and I knew that Sharon was in town as a bus driver, and because, we did the play, and I was like, I need to run into her. I need to find her, too. And one day on my way to rehearsal for a play called... I think it was Whale Song or something, or Franklin, one of those two. And on my way to the theater, to rehearsal, and Sharon was driving the bus. And I go up to her, I hadn't met her yet, but I'd seen footage of her, and we studied these people and came up with a physical vocabulary so that people would know who we're playing on stage, because it was chaotic at times. And I was like, I know this is going to sound a little weird and I don't want to frighten you, Sharon, but I know your sister Gab, and I did the play, Inside Passage in that show, and it's like, so I know you. Like, you don't know me, but I know you. And we became friends, actually.
Really?
Yeah, we became friends. She's a really wonderful lady. Still lives in Juneau, and the driving buses, as far as I know, still. Yes, yeah.
So you've done stuff in Pittsburgh?
That was the one thing I did in Pittsburgh, yeah.
And then you said South Dakota?
A couple years ago I went and did a Midsummer Night's Dream in South Dakota.
So how'd you travel to all these different places? I mean, you just...
Usually plane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Usually plane. No, I'm just kidding. Sardonic answer. No, I mean, I auditioned for stuff, and sometimes, a lot of times it's not in Alaska. Most of the professional productions, there's one professional theater company in Alaska, that's Perseverance, and I love working with them. You don't get to all the time, but I've been really graced with and blessed with having a lot of cool experiences with Perseverance.
So when you work with Perseverance, do you have to do the show in Juneau and then up in Anchorage typically?
Typically.
Both.
Yeah. And I mean, during the pandemic years, we did stuff virtually with like greens, like Josh Lemon would come to my house and drop off a computer and a green screen and all the stuff I need to do, like live video theater or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Did you do anything with us when we did Colby, who used to work here? She did like a virtual short play thing in like March and April through May?
No, I don't think so.
I thought you might have been. I mean, everybody was. I mean, actors came out of everywhere to.
Oh, nice.
It was fun.
Heck yeah. I know.
I thought you might have been there.
There was one point where I came here to do, because my internet was so bad at where I was living at the time that we couldn't do Dick Reichman's.
Tiny and Beautiful?
No, not that. That one was live. We did it live. But I played Alaska Joe. Take on the Rocks.
Oh, that one. And I was in that one with you.
Yeah. The one that Dick and I call the worst streams production of all time. So we try not to talk about it.
That's right. Your internet was horrible. I remember that.
And it usually is. And like when I did the Spirit of the Valley with Perseverance during the pandemic years, my camera had this like weird orange thing that made me look really orange. Maybe it was the lights or something. But then what they did is they just like, I played this like rapping raven in that show. And I was like kind of like steampunk, like dressed, like I looked like metal,
Yeah.
like almost had like makeup, and because we did this really cool like there was this like form line design type makeup stuff we were doing, and so they just made me black and white, and so my camera issues like ended up leading to like
work.
a creative type of direction we took with that. It was interesting.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating when you lag out of a rehearsal. It's the most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah, right. No, I remember that virtual show. I think that was the first time Dick really had to experience a lot of that, and he's like, I want people to pick up their cues, and we're thinking, well, it's also the delay between when the person hears it and stuff like that. So it was an interesting time with all the virtual shows and rehearsals, us trying to figure out how to make it all work,
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It's tricky, and it's tedious. It's really hard work.
Yeah.
It's tedious work. I don't like it, but I did it. It was better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
I was grateful to be able to do that.
Yeah.
The way to do it is to hire a really good graphic artist and put green screens behind your actors and submerge them in that world with the kind of people who know how to do the technical wizardry stuff. Boom! Like Josh Lohman did it for Perseverance Theater. He's like a tech whiz with that stuff, and we wouldn't have been able to do it without his skills to make you smaller or bigger. And blew my mind.
When the pandemic hit in March of 2020, were you doing any shows at that time?
We were just about to start rehearsing Tiny Beautiful Things.
Oh, okay. So you were okay.
So I just done Devilfish with Perseverance, and my then girlfriend and I had just recently broken up too, and we separated, and I was like living in hostels when I was in LA, and so when I came up to do Devilfish, I was like, I'm gonna stay in town. My stuff's safe in storage down there. I'm gonna save a couple of $1,000 like work and go back down. And so I'm not like living in hostels anymore. Get a little bit more on my feet. It's easier to do in Alaska than in LA.
Yeah.
And I was gonna do Tiny Beautiful Things, but like, cool, this is like, I get to do another play in Alaska before I go back. And I just never left because of the pandemic.
Right. Yeah. So how did you? I know a lot of actors. It's pretty amazing. A lot of shows were just halted right in March of 2020. I know that we had a show with another theater company that was opening that actually opened that weekend. That everything's like shutting down. People are like grabbing toilet paper and bleach and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, and it made me really think of these folks like you that just do a lot of theater. That's part of your community, is getting to work with these different actors and directors, and this is what you do with a lot of your time and stuff. And now that's all gone. With the exception of the occasional virtual this or that or this. How did that affect you? I know a lot of actors were kind of pretty affected by that.
Devastating. Yeah, it was a really hard time. I played a lot of guitar in those days, and
were you mostly just home and
stuff
like that?
Yeah. Those were for me personally. Those were tough times. They were really tough times. Going off the deep end as much as I could get away with in those times, but because it's such a structure for me, working in the theater and doing stuff, and I really miss it when I don't have a chance to do it. It was devastating. Yeah, but I filled my time doing other stuff like playing music and I played a lot of Bob Dylan that summer.
Oh yeah. I like him.
Oh yeah.
You and Dick Reichman seem to do a lot of work together, and just seeing you come in, seeing you around here with him, there seems to be a lot of mutual respect.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think like, you're his De Niro to his Scorsese, or more recently his DiCaprio to his Scorsese. You know?
Heck yeah,
But I
lovely.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
he seems to like to work with you and give you a lot of experience. When did this start with you and him?
It started when I showed up late to my audition for Tribes.
Oh, that's a good impression.
With an electric toothbrush going off in my backpack.
Okay.
Yeah, I was late. And it was because the bus was late, I'll be fair. Like, I know that's not an excuse. Like, it's not. You know, if you're supposed to be somewhere, you're supposed to be there. And you just find a way. That's how I think.
Yeah.
So I like to stay accountable. But that's the reason I was late. I mean, it wasn't my fault necessarily. So I was a little peeved about that, flustered, especially because the electric toothbrush was going off, and one of the actors who was also auditioning had to like tell me like, "Hey, you got like something buzzing in your backpack." I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It's my electric toothbrush, everybody." I go and sit in the back and I'm watching them wrap up audition essentially. At this point I saw Coral Bright and Danielle Rolke, who played Sylvia. She ended up getting cast in that role, like on stage.
Was Carl in the show too?
And Carl played who would be my brother in the show.
Oh, really?
We were brothers, yeah. He starts in the play. His character starts developing schizophrenia. My character was deaf, and Sylvia was going deaf.
Oh.
That was like the dynamic, if you're not familiar with Tribes. And yeah, so I thought he wasn't even gonna see me, and he was just gonna, all right, cool, whoever that is, but I'm sorry you're late, bye, and just call it. But he was like, so he's like, oh, you haven't auditioned, you wanna come down? And I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And I didn't even mention how late I was. I didn't apologize or anything. I just like, oh, maybe you didn't even notice. Yeah, and this was like this was in 2015, so this wasn't really like, this was kind of the beginning of what would become my career essentially, because I hadn't done anything big, or I had done like plays with ATY, and I had done stuff, of course. This was my first time having a lead role, and also I was taking it very seriously because I was playing a character who had congenital deafness and had never heard, sound. And
That's an interesting.
yeah, and there's this really cool book by Bill Esper. He's like a teacher in New York City, and I forgot what the name of his book is called, but it's like about the Meisner technique. He's a big fan of that. And I was like really studying this chapter about working with physical impediments. Like even something as simple as like a limp or something, but this was really big. And he actually recommends like doing exercises for actors to pretend, like to imagine what it would be like if they lost one of their senses. Maybe, just as an exercise, like play blind or play deaf. Not that those are, like, see, the thing is also, dipping into some controversy around this, I've always been really big about research, and when I was cast in Tribes, I researched it, and I wanted to see what other people were saying about it, and all sorts of, the production history of it.
Sure.
And they did a production, and they hired a a hearing actor, like someone who is not deaf, not of the hard of hearing community, and people were mad because, and I understood too, because actors with like, who are, are deaf, like if there's a role for a deaf character, obviously that would be, even somebody who is not even an actor, but maybe wanted to try it out, that would be perfect for them. I brought that up to Dick actually, and I asked him that if he knew of somebody who was deaf or that had wanted to do the play, that I would resign and they should do it. I wanted to make sure that was an opportunity would be presented if it was out there for them, if that was a possibility, if he knew, and so yeah, that was that when I considered that, and I was like, so I would never, these days I would not accept a role where I'm blind or deaf, but I remember that being such a challenge, and I'm so grateful for being able to have done it because it really helped me like stretch out a lot. And I learned how to read lips doing that show.
Oh,
I can
really?
still read lips to this day.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be careful around you.
I know when people are talking about
I
it.
really.
If I'm
I'll be
staring,
across from there's Skyler.
yeah, just start mouthing. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, that was when I met Dick. To answer your question, long question, short, long answer. Yeah, and the way Dick says it, his side of the story. He's told me his perspective because we've laughed about it a couple of times. He was like, yeah, I mean, this scrubby kid walks in and he's got like I thought he was homeless. Like,
I've heard this story.
Just wandered in, like who let this homeless guy in the theater? Like, get him out of here. And it's like, yeah, I guess I blew him away. He said it was a great audition, and then we were working together on the Stories at the Cemetery.
Oh yeah.
With Linda and the Kellys, and
you've done some stuff there.
and he saw me a couple weeks after the audition, and he actually came up to me and he was like, "You blew." He was like, "That was a really good audition, and I just wanted to tell you, you got the part, you got it." And I was like, "Oh, that's because I didn't even know yet.
Oh.
They hadn't even announced it yet." Then so I knew a little bit in advance. But then now we've done 6 plays together. This is our 6th one. Yeah. 3 of them with RKP. This is the 3rd one. And hopefully more. I get to do more with them. I love working with them.
3 with RKP. What was the other one?
Church and State, and then Tiny Beautiful Things.
And Tiny Beautiful. Yeah, that production ran into a lot of issues for sure. I remember that was last year. Omicron just hit, right? You guys had to. It was crazy because a lot of people were starting to do plays again. We had a show that was going up, Star Girl.
Yeah.
And Ciro's had a show that was going up a little bit later into February, but you guys were like in the epicenter opening Omicron, and you had to. Was it the first weekend that had to be pushed, like canceled, postponed, or something like that? Did you guys have to postpone?
I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember.
How was that play received?
The people who saw it liked it. Yeah.
Not that many people saw it.
I don't think many people saw it. No. Like you were saying, it was the climate.
So that was 2021, and but you got cast in it like in 2020.
Yeah. No, it was in 2022 we did it. It was in January.
That's right. 2022.
Just a year ago,
yeah,
from now, pretty much.
Yeah, that's right. So.
So it was
2 years, just about. You guys, the same cast?
No, we lost Boogie.
You did.
Because she moved to Chicago.
Oh yeah.
With the Thai and.
She's good.
Yeah, so she was good, and then Shailisa Bill came in and took the role that she was initially doing.
And Shalisa's in this show.
Killed it, and Shailisa's in this show too. She's one wonderful, talented actress.
I think she's one of the best.
Oh yeah.
Actresses in town. I think so.
I wish I could have seen her play Billie Holiday. Yeah, because I love Billie. We were chatting about that.
Show you the video.
Yeah, there we go. Not the same.
There's no video out there. But yeah, I'll show you the video. I loved working with her. I think some of my favorite memories of that play was just, I remember early 2017, I called in each actress for like 2 or 3 hours. Let's talk about the script, let's talk about your character. We just sat and talked, and her and I just, so what about this, what about that? We just talked and tried to figure out, the play and the character and everything. That was a fun time. I like working on those shows where you can just really, where it's really actor-driven stuff.
Yeah.
Really just talk.
That's kind of how this show is, Out to Lunch. I mean, it's funny because the other 2 productions I've done with RKP, I played a multitude of characters in each one. Like, in Tiny Beautiful Things, I was, in one scene I'm a transgender male, and another scene I'm
so you played multiple.
Yeah, a different character, like
It's
and
always fun.
it is, and then in Church and State, same thing, multitude of characters. But yeah, you miss out on being able to just really immerse yourself in like from the beginning to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about the whole process is the through action. You know, getting getting caught up in it, so to speak, like you're riding, like surfing a wave. And then time passes, it's a state of flow, that's the word I'm looking for, yeah. And time passes by so much quicker and stuff. Like when you're having a great time, like, where'd the day go, you know? And that's what I love about my doing construction work too, because it keeps you busy, and before you know it, it's like the day's over, so.
Yeah. So, how old are you?
29.
29, okay. And you're from Juneau, and I remember we talked and you had mentioned that you come from Haida, or
Tlingit, yeah.
Yeah,
Tlingit,
sorry.
yeah. That's all right.
Tlingit heritage. Any other Alaskan native or mostly just that?
Mostly that, and yeah, I mean, according to my like 23andMe, I have like mostly like a bunch of Northwestern European like ancestry and
Really?
and Native and some Native American ancestry. I'm Native American Tlingit through my dad's side of the family.
Interesting.
And yeah, and they're I think they came from the like the Haines, like Cluckwan area. Chilkat, I believe, is what kind of what my ancestors would be from that area.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Are you in touch with a lot of your family on your father's side, or?
Yeah, I'm pretty close with quite a few of them actually, and people reach out to me too, like on Facebook and stuff, and like I have a cousin like, hey, my mom passed your number along to me. We're cousins, you know, and it's like I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Like, you know, I'm like making plans with them, like go meet them, like, you know, one of these weekends. I gotta get around to that. Yeah, I don't know. So there's a lot of family out there.
Mm-hmm.
But my grandma and my aunt, I lived with them I lived on my aunt Heather's couch for a little bit during the pandemic years.
Mm.
And I even did the Spirit of the Valley from her living room.
Oh,
that
really?
was where, yeah, like my grandma couldn't like watch her NCIS during that time. But she said she enjoyed watching me act to nothing.
Yeah, but
To a blank space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
I know, right? Yeah. And so yeah, yeah. Did that answer the question? Whatever.
yeah.
The question
Whatever the no. So where? So you're 29.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to go with this acting thing? I mean, do you want? I mean, you could be, you know, if you feel comfortable, you know. Do you want to like see where it goes, really pursue this thing, like this, you know, I want my name to be the actor guy?
Absolutely.
Or is this, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna lie or show any pretenses. I do want to be considered one of the best actors, and I like being competent and skilled. For sure. I mean, I don't think anybody doesn't.
Right.
Like, I don't think if you had a choice to be like, no, I don't want to be skilled or competent at what I do. No, I want to be as good as I could possibly be. Eventually, you know, it's like, I want to become a drama therapist.
Right, yeah.
I want to, registered drama therapist, eventually. Mm-hmm. And I got to go back to school to do that. That's not just something you just, I'm a registered drama therapist now.
So what kind of thing would you, for example, like what would you do as a drama therapist for somebody? I mean,
I would probably, my MO would be to go to prisons, to schools, to hospitals, and help people, you know, with the theater and drama as a tool instead of like more conventional like talk therapy essentially. Yeah. Or when I was a kid, I did like play therapy. I'd go and like play Stratego with my therapist, and I don't even think we talked about anything. We just played Stratego, but I'm sure we did. But I just don't. It just seemed like, you know, fun playing.
That's good.
So that's effective, especially with youth. I love working with the youth. I've been blessed with the Perseverance Theater picked up the Winter Bear project back in like 2017, and they've been doing it nearly every year except for when the pandemic the 2020 year. They didn't do it that year. But then the next year we filmed it, and then like a whole bunch of people saw it in the Northwest Art School Bureau. Like we had over 1,000 like people watching one of our shows one day, because they're all logged in. You know, they didn't have to show up to like an actual physical space. And Josh Lemon was like, "Oh my goodness, kids are getting banned like out the wazoo right now, like record numbers because the chat function." And then, so he's like, "We gotta restart, guys, and disable the chat, and then we'll restart, and hopefully kids won't be getting banned from seeing the show." And, yeah, and so, but that was my least favorite thing about that year, was that we had to do it virtually, you know, because one of the things about that program itself is going to these rural communities, like the villages out in Alaska, and interacting with them and with the kids, and they love like the animals and the mystical animals in that play, like with their makeup and costumes. They love seeing that and going up and getting pictures taken, and it's like they organize a big like potluck, you know, before the show. The whole community like shows up to, you know, at the end of the gymnasium, and we're like sleeping in libraries and stuff. And I played Pandemic before there was a pandemic, the board game, you know. So it's like that was my favorite. Those are my favorite things, being able to do that kind of outreach stuff with younger people.
Yeah, I think, you know, you go to a community where it's just, you know, people are just used, you know, especially kids, like we're just getting used to this way of life, this routine, and you bring in theater, and it completely is this completely foreign, amazing thing that just that just rocks their world. I mean, I've talked a couple, you know, for the last few years about how theater can reroute somebody, you know, just you know, where kids especially can be introduced to this new world of theater, and they can find, wow, I've never done, you know, here I was this kid doing this, and now here I'm putting on makeup, and I'm playing an animal, and I'm working with all these different folks, and we're rehearsing every night, and oh my gosh, I'm in front of an audience, and I just, you know, now we're done, and I'm the person who's on the stage, and you know, it just, I love how it can just crash into somebody's life and change them forever. It's, you know, especially, I mean, even just one theater experience that's good can just change and be a memory forever, just change somebody's perspective forever.
Oh yeah. I mean, statistically, kids who go into theater, they do better, like, scholastically.
Yeah.
They don't get into very much legal trouble.
Well, I remember when I brought Colby Bleicher on board at ACT, and she was she now was the outreach person, and I said, I really want to get into Highland. I want to get into the women's prison.
Yeah.
And she did research on it, and the things that she found were, you know, she showed me videos of these inmates at these prisons in the Lower 48 or whatever, doing Shakespeare and stuff. And, you know, these guys are like, yeah, who would have thought I'd be doing Shakespeare and actually, you know, really starting to understand this. And that's the thing that I really love of the potential of theater. Like I said before, it just can introduce something so brand new to what you're used to, and you can find things within yourself that you never knew were there.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
Well, you know, when you get more into the theater therapy, you come see us, and we'll send you to the prisons.
Awesome.
Send you to Seward.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I would love that.
So before we wrap up, and I've had a real good time talking with you, and
thank you.
I really do appreciate. You know, you're not only somebody who is very active in the community theater, but you've been very supportive of everybody in the community theater. I remember, was it a year ago, or maybe it was back in like 2021 or something, you and your buddy Herman came in here, and I was trying to put all these seats back up by myself, and
With your busted up back.
and my back was all
yeah.
jacked up, and I thought, oh, you know, it's like God sent me Skyler today. I tell you, it's like,
He really did.
Oh,
I was like picking up a check because I was doing some work with Be Happy Property
Oh,
Services
yeah, that's
just
right.
around the corner, and I was like, hey man, you want to go over to ACT? It's right around the corner. I feel like, you know, maybe Matt will be there. Go say hi.
Yeah,
and then this happened to
my
okay.
hump over there.
Yeah.
No, man, you guys came in and I mean, you nailed it out so fast. I was like, oh, thank God. I'm so glad those guys came by. I appreciate that. But
Of course.
that's the kind of stuff that you've done in the past too. You just helped others. You've been very humble. I got to tell you, watching you act in this play, and I was telling Audrey this backstage, and I said, man, Skyler he's growing, he's becoming so good, and yeah, and when I watch a play, I'm really watching for, you know, who, I know it's not very nice, but I kind of look for like, who is BSing me with the emotions, you know, who is just kind of saying my lines, I'm trying to be like this and stuff. And I just thought, man, Skyler is, I can believe this guy. I can believe.
Thank you.
You know, I can believe that you're a racist or something. but anyway, so I want to ask you, got any dream plays, dream roles? Something
Yeah.
you'd love to do you haven't done yet?
I've always wanted to play Hamlet.
Yeah,
And-
you're still good age for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's in his late, early 30s or something in the play, I think.
I think I'm too old now, but I would have liked to have done
That'd be good. I just feel like I would have a creative and original take on it, and
that. Sweet, yeah, totally.
not play the typical like sad, sappy, you know, Hamlet. And I've experienced a touch of my own madness before too, so I could probably play. I mean, I get to experience a little bit of madness in this play too. It's fun when you get to experience a little bit of madness on stage. Yeah. So I don't know. I love new plays though. So my dream role is probably yet to be written. To be honest.
Well, it was almost the Rain King.
Oh, that would have been so much fun.
You did a cool audition for that.
I had a lot of fun auditioning for that one.
Yeah,
I remember.
That was a good one. We had Stefan in there when you couldn't do it, and he did great as he always does. But I remember thinking like, man, that would have, you know, Skyler would have been a you know.
It was another like Joker moment, you know, like actors have a lot of fascination with like playing the Joker or like characters like that. I mean, Heath and Joaquin Phoenix did a wonderful jobs on it, of course. And
well, the thing
it's like a trope almost. Like.
Yeah, you know, yeah. I think it is. You know, it can be the Rain King can be one of those roles where you can really
Indulge,
invent and create. And because I think of the
really
Rain
eccentric character.
Yeah, I think of the Rain King as he's not human. You know, I mean, he looks like a human, but he's a creature. He's a spirit. He's not a person like a human person. So I thought, man, you know, there's so many things that you can do with that. Like, what does he do? Like, does he move a certain way? Does he make certain noises that are inhuman? You know, like what, you know, that kind of thing.
We have a lot of fun. Yeah, I enjoyed the production. I got to see it.
Yeah,
so.
we're talking about the play after the Rain King.
What you guys did in your last season, right?
Yeah.
A year ago.
Yeah. By Steph, I might get the name wrong, sorry. Steph DeFries, sorry, Steph. But yeah, we did that one in 2021, part of our COVID season. The never-ending season.
Yeah, I know, right?
So Hamlet's a good one. Any plays other than that you? I mean, what you just told me, new plays are good.
Probably, yeah. My dream role's probably in a new play that has yet to be written.
Well, have you done a musical? I mean, you play music, you sing and stuff.
I mean, I can sing Bob Dylan enough, possibly. Maybe let's do a Bob Dylan musical. I'll have fun with that. See, I've always been intimidated by musical theater, and I was just talking about this with my castmates the other night, and I think for that reason, it's gonna be on my my goal lately has been, all right, I want to do more television. So I've been And it's cool because I started doing television after I said that to myself a couple years ago.
I saw you on TV.
Oh yeah, you were telling me. I haven't even seen that yet.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Bigfoot show or something like that. Bigfoot in Alaska. I
Uh-huh.
was like, that's Skyler.
Yeah.
This show's BS.
He's not a Homer
He
fisherman.
is not.
He's an actor.
He is not a Homer. He's not an expert on the Bigfoot.
No, yeah. I was just acting like I was an expert on
Yeah.
not to knock.
I mean, I'm the moron for thinking all that stuff. It's real.
I
You're
couldn't-
not an expert.
Oh, I'm not. I won't even say that. Never mind. Censor myself. I should do musical theater because I'm intimidated by it, and I think it's a lot of work, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of scared of work.
Well, really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm a little lazy sometimes. Like when I was doing Devilfish, I only had 3 lines in the whole play on our first day in the read-through, and my 3 lines were in Clinket, and it was during the wedding ceremony, and I was like. And Vera was like worried that I was gonna be sad, like, cause she was like, "Oh, don't worry, she's like, I'm gonna write more stuff, but you're gonna be in more than just that scene with those 3 lines." And I was like, "You don't have to if you don't want. I'm good with the 3 lines. No, it's less work for me." But anyway, it's like, yeah. So
That's okay. I mean, Brando seemed like kind of a lazy actor.
yeah, yeah, mumble,
Yeah.
lines, no effort. Yeah, so I thank you for bringing it up because I should do musical theater.
Well, I found a script for a Hank Williams musical.
The Talking Blues, huh?
Yeah, I'm talking, and it's very, very, very much like Patsy Cline was. I don't know if you saw when we did Patsy Cline.
I wasn't in town. I would have.
They call it like a jukebox musical, so it's about the musician, but it has like a ton of their songs. And I thought, my gosh, I'd love to be able to direct this play or play the role. I can't play guitar worth a lick. And so I was like, man, you almost have to hire a musician to be in the show because you don't want, this guy plays guitar in the play. But maybe.
Hey, if you do it, if you end up doing it, I'll certainly
talk about
I'll audition.
But you gotta do that Hank Williams,
Yeah.
I got a feeling called the blues. Yes, my baby said goodbye. You gotta work on that.
What's that song? He's like, nobody leaves this world alive or something. I love that song. And then, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How about
the prodigal son, straight from his father.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
I could be backstage just playing the guitar if I don't have the voice for it. So.
All right. I'll be the singer, and we'll have a costume where your arms come out and play.
Yeah, there we go. That's how we can do it.
We'll just say that Hank Williams was a very irregularly shaped man. Well, all right. I think
awesome.
I think this is good. I appreciate you being out here and taking the time. I know you guys got your show in just a little while. Should be coming in pretty soon.
Heck yeah.
Folks, I'm just going to do this now. Folks, I'm touching props. Sorry, Dick. Folks, this is my guest, Skyler Davis, very talented actor. You can see him and the other actors that he is acting with, a whole group of talented people that we've all worked with before, and Out to Lunch, directed by Dick Reichman. This is RKP production. It's going to be running for next weekend.
Until the 22nd.
The weekend after.
Yeah.
So I hope you come and see it. RKP shows are really nice, rare gems that you get to see throughout in the Anchorage Theater. So, all right, folks. Thank you very much. I would like to also thank our sponsors, the Block Foundation, Atwood Foundation, Alaska State Council on the Arts, ConocoPhillips, and the Rasmussen Foundation for supporting ACT and giving us the opportunity to do things like this. So, thank you. Thanks. Take care, man.
Thanks, man.
Bye, everybody. See you at the show.